again, spolia lovers of the world. This is Tom Fretz, the Virginia Picker over here in Southampton County, Virginia. When I'm out salvaging and have the opportunity to take home a unique lamp or light or any form of lighting, I always do it. I have some kind of weird affinity for lamps and lighting, I think partially because everybody needs lamps and lights, but also because it seems like so many of the old lights and lamps were so artistically designed back in that time, and there aren't many left to be seen out there on a day-to-day basis. So let's take a look. These lights might be the first thing I ever salvaged. They were on a house that I bought in 1986. Of course, they have a nautical theme. And when I replaced the front porch lights, I put these in the basement. And then when we sold that house, I brought them here. Pretty cool. I got this old light fixture out of a house that was being taken down here locally and painted it because the original finish on it was in pretty bad condition, but I tried to mimic the original look of it, and it's now in my kitchen. This one has pretty much the same story. It's actually over my dining table. I know that one bulb is different from the others. It's a little bit of a different color. Just think that original finish is really neat. These two lights were made from a modern light. The black part was from a modern light, and the green part, the shade, was from an old outdoor light fixture. These are some of the lamps that I currently have in my great room, where I spend most of my so-called leisure time. The one on the left was fabricated from a piano stool, obviously, and an old floor lamp. The one in the middle has an old lamp shade, and I just thought that was the coolest thing when I found that lamp, because the green glass. It was up in the top of a barn, tucked in at the rafter tie. I don't think anybody had probably remembered that it was there. I had permission to salvage that house before they took it down. The steel parts along the bottom were rusty, and I sanded those and put a clear coat on them so it just looks like a bronze finish. And then that rail right there is decorative brass. I just thought it was the coolest lamp. The one on the right is a pretty typical floor lamp, probably from the era of the 30s, give or take a decade. Here's a little view of some of the lamps and lanterns that I hope to one day clean up and be able to put into a retail setting, Lord willing. If he's not willing, then I'm not interested anyway. So this is a pretty neat old lantern. It says Kodak on the front. It's an actual kerosene lamp. got a blue lens. I think that's unique, but I don't know if that blue is original or what the original condition was. Pretty neat though. I found this lamp tucked back in the barn at my dad's house. My mom and dad's house, and I just thought that was super cool. That base is cast iron, it's very heavy. It's got the glass. The main shaft is just made out of tin, as is the top part. And then the cardboard tubes that are made to look like candles. But I just thought the base itself is pretty ornate and pretty neat. These are like the fixture that I have on my kitchen ceiling. Most of these came out of old farmhouses, 100 or so years old, that were getting ready to be demolished. Very Art Deco. This one probably weighs about 25 pounds. It's heavy duty. There's another bathroom light, which I would guess is from the early 70s. Shade for a hanging light. I thought both of these shades were somewhat unique. That one has a center hole that the threaded rod would come through, and then you would put a little nut on the end of it. This one, you can see, it's got 3 holes in it, and a chain would be a little keychain type chain would be threaded through those holes, and it would be suspended below the light bulb. These are the old hanging lights that used to be in all the elementary schools. I know they had them in my school up in southwestern Pennsylvania. With these little hanging light shades that are like concentric rings. They would hang off the ceiling. And these were in a local elementary school here in Southampton County that was being demolished. I thought these lights had a pretty neat industrial look. I don't think they're super old, but these shades are either halothane or made to look like the old halothane light shades or lenses. So I just like the look. I think this light is probably from the 50s, and I think it's a reproduction made to look like the old oil lamps that would be suspended from the ceiling. Of course, this one's electrified. And I'm not really sure of the age. The main centerpiece there is made out of wood. All of these lights were in the Southampton County courthouse when they were remodeling, renovating over the past few years. And they were throwing all of these away, so I got permission to go in there and take them down off the ceiling before they started doing the demo, and I've got them here in stock. I think this type of light is probably the coolest style. To me, that's super Victorian, and they just don't make them like that anymore. They're just pretty cool. A lot of attention to detail, and of course that was suspended. There's the top that would go up against the ceiling. Probably was originally finished in a brassy color and might still be able to bring that brass out. I don't know. One day, maybe I'll find out. Another similar hanging type fixture. This one would have had just one large globe or some type of lens that would be a center hole. And you can still see some of the coppery color on this one. That would probably be pretty easy to bring back to a real flashy copper finish. I just think these are the neatest ones. These, I'm guessing, would be 20s. Just guessing, don't really know. No, these are not lights yet, but I think those would make some cool looking lights. If anyone out there is looking for a perfect light for a medieval castle, I think I've got it. A couple of old school light lenses. More of a nautical type light. Some of you may be familiar with this style of light. I've seen several of these. These are, I think, from the 60s time frame. Not much to it. Just a piece of enameled metal. Another piece of enameled metal. Not real stylish, I guess, but definitely at least 50 years old. I thought these lights had a pretty cool look, the old industrial factory type look. Here are some cool new lights for your new bathroom. Direct from the 1950s. Over the sink light in the bathroom. Pretty neat though. I have to say, I think this is probably the coolest light that I've ever salvaged. It was on the front porch of an old house that I was able to get a contract to demo the house. So I was able to salvage whatever I wanted prior to the demo. And I don't think that glass was originally made crackled glass, but I think it just crackled over time. I'm thinking this light is probably from the 30s. And this is the ceiling escutcheon that would go up tight to the ceiling, and then this light would hang from a chain. But gotta admit, that's pretty cool. There's a cage for an explosion-proof light that I got out of a boiler room in that old elementary school that was recently demoed. Got a lot of salvage out of that building. Ceiling light. About as simple as it gets. Pretty neat old bathroom light for over the bathroom sink. Here's another pressed tin light. Has a little lens. I think this was over the dining table, if I remember correctly, in that house. Original to the 60s, I'm thinking. Do you like it or do you hate it? Not sure it's something I would want in my house, but maybe with a little cleanup I might change my mind. Too much chain on this one to get out and hold up, but I think you get the picture. I picked up these two lights, matching lights, at the local Habitat for Humanity, and the reason I bought them for $25 is that I think they were originally gas fixtures. I think they're really old. That would be a vent for hot air, and they're so huge. That would have been originally, I think, where the gas would have flowed through into the body of the lamp and burned at the outlets. Not sure of that, but I just think they're really old and they're huge. And for 25 bucks, I figured it was a good deal. Old set of wall sconces, probably from the 50s or 60s would be my guess. Old set of bathroom wall sconces. I think these are some of the neatest lamp globes that I have. I think they're old and original. And it's amazing that they haven't been broken because they're pretty fragile. But I will use those on something because they're pretty cool. Here's another 3-chain suspension lens that would hang this way, and the glass is etched on the inside, smooth on the outside. I think that would probably be from the 30s or 40s. I really don't know. These are some of the globes for the old school lights that I had mentioned that I had outside. This is what it would look like if you can imagine that hanging upside down from the way it is right now. If you're my age, you probably remember, or you may remember, something like that from elementary school. This is a pretty unique light. I think it's the only one like it I've ever seen. Pretty rough shape. Could definitely be cleaned up though. When I was growing up, we had this style of ceiling light, these type right here, hanging in the bedrooms of each of the bedrooms in the house. This is probably one of the more original light fixtures that I've seen or owned. The wood on the back is not original, but the rest is cast iron or cast metal. And it's very ornate. Got a little mirror there. Yes, I know it's dirty and rusty, but it's interesting. And I just found out something when I was lifting this off the shelf that I was not aware of. This actually still has some kind of a copper look to it, but this little part is a switch for turning on one of the lights, 2, 3, who knows how it's set up, but I didn't know that, so that was pretty cool. In desperate need of a good cleaning. But these are so ornate that they're just interesting to me. Probably needs a few more of the crystal pendants as well. This is a super heavy surface mount. I would guess a kitchen light fixture. It's about 15 inches across. I'll bet it would look cool lit up, but I can tell you it's heavy. Here are a few more of the 3-chain type hanging light fixtures. These 3 chains, all 3 of them, would hang like that. And then if you have this paired correctly with the right lens, there are 3 spots here where the chain would be inserted. And so the light would hang above it. Pretty neat. This one's a different style. It's got a different type of chain with a little hook. So this light was over a dining room table, and the thing I thought was neat, and many of you may have seen this before, maybe even I have too, but I don't remember, but you could pull it think you could pull it. Well, I guess it's at the end of its rope. I thought you were going to be able to pull it down close to the table and then raise it back up. But it seems that at the moment that's as far as it wants to go. False alarm. I thought this light was pretty neat because it's all glass. Everything is glass. I thought this was unique because of the color of the shade. It's just a peachy pink, I guess, or salmon-y color. And it's got a straight down rod, metal down rod. Pretty neat, I think. They don't make them like that anymore, probably for good reason. All right, let's go see what kind of lighting we can find up at the cabinet shop. So if you've been watching my daughter Emma's videos, you've seen this before. This fixture was in Emma's shop when she bought that building, and she didn't want it at the time. I could tell it was brass. Of course, it's got a lot of patina on there, but it was originally a gas fixture. And you can see the little valves under each of these that would control. Gas would have come in from the ceiling. This would hang from the ceiling, come down, and each of these valves controlled each of the flames. At that time, it's been electrified since then. But we did find information on where it came from. This tag was on here, which told the story. And I'm hoping that I can borrow Emma's video to reiterate the story. But now that we know the history of it, I think Emma may want to hang it in her building because it is very cool and very old. Here's Emma's video.
This lamp was in my building. I will read you what the tag says. From historic Sabine Hall, or Sabine, I'm not sure, built in 1730, Warsaw, Virginia, for Camden Carter, son of Robert King Carter. So it actually hung like this. I don't want to break it. But it actually hung like this from the ceiling. And my dad sent me a picture of Sabine Hall, or no, he sent me their website, and they have pictures on the website. So I started scrolling through the pictures. Pictures are old film pictures. This exact lamp is in the pictures. It could be a different lamp. It could have been this exact one. I don't know. But 1730, I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. It's not in great shape. I gave it to my dad because he collects lamps. See right here, looks like this is the little pull string. I'm assuming that was put in later because in 1730, when was electric invented? I should know that, but I don't. But it wasn't in 1730. Anyway, that's one of the coolest things that I found so far, especially because it has the tag on it and we know where it came from. And I looked on their website and literally found the lamp in the pictures. Just the coolest thing ever. And I'll put in a picture here and I'll put the website in the description if you want to go check it out. But it's just so cool. I had to show you that.
There's an old ceiling hung light with a milk glass globe. That's not super old, probably 70s would be my guess. Also had to show you these. If you're from the old school, you'll appreciate these old full-size Christmas lights. Probably got 100 there, 150. Just little short strings, 7 lights on that string, and they're big, but they're old. These are probably, when I was growing up in the 60s, this was the size Christmas light we had on my tree. And I'll probably put these on my tree next year. I think that would be fun. I thought this was a pretty neat idea. I forget what they call that, but that's what they used to use to hang animals on, to gut them or quarter them or skin them. And they have electrified these two lanterns and hung them off of there. And I think, of course, obviously it needs to be cleaned up. But if you hang that out on your porch, if you like old country stuff, live out in the country in an old log cabin, hang that out on the porch, that would look pretty nice. So I believe these are 70s. That's what they look like to me. Pretty plain, just clear glass and silver chrome finish on the metal parts. But if you like 70s, these are vintage. They can be yours if the price is right. These wall sconces are also from Emma's store. We're storing them over here in my building, but I thought I'd show these to you. They have almost like a white gold or a very light brass finish that's been painted over. And these are also from Sabine Hall, which is the location where the gas light, the ceiling hung gas light came from. And these are operated by pull chain. So they were hanging on the wall, maybe on each side of a bed, and you can turn those off and on with the pull chain. I will be interested to see what they look like when they're cleaned up. And last but not least, when Emma saw this light, when I bought this building, this light was in here. She said she just had to have it, which was fine with me because I didn't think it was anything special. It's plastic of some sort. If it was glass, I'd have loved it. But it's got a look. And it would hang from the chain, and then this would hang, the little pendant would hang over at the end of the chain, I guess. Well, folks, I guess that's about all of the light fixtures and lamps that I have at the moment. Enjoyed showing those to you. I think I kind of have an affinity for old lights and lamps because they're old and because they have a utilitarian purpose. They serve a function, and everybody needs light, just like everybody needs chairs. I really appreciate the wide variety of the old lights that you just don't see around anymore. So it's a lot of fun for me. So I guess that's about it. Thank you all for your comments and your suggestions. Thanks for watching. Thanks for continuing to come back and see what's going on over here in Southampton County. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and share. And if you know anyone who likes old things, let them know about my channel. I appreciate it. And we'll see you the next time. Until then, enjoy the journey.